1. Tale as old as time. Management can't decide what they want to do. Kinda renty. I work overnights. So this story happened last night, this morning. Working in dairy. Our normal truck is 1,400 to 1,500 with dairy getting 6 or 7 pallets. Dairy and frozen truck arrive together, so it gets split about even most of the time. If the truck is on time, and there are 3 of us working, we can get done by about 4 or 5 a.m. Last night was, to put it mildly, a poop show. See, I told you I'd put it mildly. Our truck was 2 hours late. Said truck was 2,500 pieces, 22 pallets, but split with frozen, so we ended up with 11 pallets. We only had 3 people. They sent us a 4th at 3:30. Before lunch, manager told us stop at 4 a.m., just get lunch done as we could. 4 a.m. rolls around, check with manager that she wants us to stop at that time. She says go and find the coach and ask her. Coach says not to listen to the other manager and work until 4:30 or 5 a.m., getting as much done as we could. Coworker asks coach if it's okay that we leave our tagged overstock on carts since it was close to break and we still had to zone. Coach said it was okay for us to do that. I verify with coach closer to 5, just want to make sure it is okay for us to leave our tagged overstock on carts and a pallet in the cooler. Yes, that's fine. Do you need a printer? No, we're good. We have printers. Just to double check, you do not want us to bin anything? They're fine on the carts. No, you don't have to bin. Just leave it on the carts or whatever. Be sure to keep them separated from what has not been worked. We don't want to confuse day shift. Ugh, the irony. I relay to co-workers that it is now double verified that we do not have to bin and we can leave overstock on the carts and a pallet. 5 a.m., break time. We are leaving the cooler as manager and coach come to check on us. So what is overstock and what needs worked still? The stuff in the back is what needs worked and these carts in front are overstock. The coach points to a cart with overstock, but that's tagged. We share confused looks. Yeah, we tagged all of the overstock. If it's tagged, it needs to go in the bins. Cue the dead-eye stares of 3 tired, caffeine-wearing off overworked overnighters who just want to go to break. We all went out to the parking lot and screamed. My co-workers had to bin everything, 5 carts and a pallet, after break, and I did the fastest zone on my shift, so I could help them with their zones. Retail is fun. 2. I have worked in 3 different pet stores now, and I know retail always sucks, but pet parents are some of the most insufferable people I have ever met. I could go on and on about dumb questions or rude customers in general, but figured I will just rant about the pet store-specific customers. Here are my top 4 pet peeves, literally. 1. Off-leash pets. Your dog is not special. So many people refuse to leash their dogs in the store. Their excuse is, oh, he's great with other dogs. He just wants to run around and smell things. Don't we all? We're the only ones here. It'll be quick. Cool. But not every dog is great with other dogs. We've had people get bitten, dogs freak out from being approached by an off-leash dog, dogs digging in bulk bins, etc. Even if your dog is friendly, that doesn't mean the reactive one across the aisle is. Also, leashless dogs pee in the store way more often because the owner isn't paying attention. I expect to clean up accidents, it comes with the job, and in no way even bothers me. I'm actually grateful when I'm alerted to a dog's accident. But if your off-leash dog pees in an aisle and you don't even notice? Now I get to step in it later. Thanks. 2. We're not a vet. Please stop treating us like one. I had a woman show me a picture of her cat's forehead where all the fur and skin was gone. Oh. It was bloody, oozing pus, clearly infected. She said the cat had been rubbing its face on concrete so hard it had done this to itself. Then she asked if we had anything to make it better. I told her she needed to go to a vet. Her response, "Nah, that'll be my last option. That's why I'm here. I thought maybe you guys could help me." Lady, your cat's skull is almost showing. The vet shouldn't be your last option. It should be your first. People get so mad when we don't have an answer for their pet's medical issues. They expect us to diagnose rare conditions, pinpoint allergies, and recommend treatments like we went to vet school. It's like walking into a grocery store and asking, "What food is best for my 120-pound diabetic son who is allergic to chicken and hasn't peed in 2 days?" Sure, the grocery clerk could try to give you some suggestions, but is in no way a replacement for the doctor or even Google. Oh, and they also get mad when they find out we don't sell prescription medications, like genuinely mad. Vets have to be very precise when prescribing your animal medication because of the huge differences between breeds and sizes and other health conditions. 3. Greedy for free treats. I used to love offering dogs treats and giving them pets, but it brings me no joy anymore. Most pet stores have a stash of treats to give out as a nice gesture, but customers abuse it so badly that it's completely ruined. Every day we get people proudly walking in announcing, "We're just here for his treat. He dragged me all the way here for a treat. Oh, he won't leave without a treat." Some don't even ask, they just pretend to shop while constantly circling back near the counter, staring at us, waiting for us to break. If ignored long enough, they'll loudly guilt trip us with, "Sorry buddy, I guess they don't want to give you a treat." Worst case, a woman stopped me from locking the doors 5 minutes after closing and forced herself inside just to get her dog a treat. When we told her we were closed and needed to go home, she just kept insisting. "Oh, but he'll be so sad if he doesn't get one. It's not a big deal." I didn't want to give in, but my supervisor just wanted her gone, so I sighed, said, "Sit," to the dog, handed the dog a treat, and walked away. Then this woman had the audacity to say, You think people bringing their dogs in for treats would be good for business." No, lady, you are keeping us after closing to get a free product while buying nothing. Please leave. 4. Really stupid breed-specific questions. I get a lot of dumb questions, but the breed-specific ones really make me question people's critical thinking skills. One of my favorites. A woman came in looking for treats for her dog. She didn't have the dog with her, didn't know what flavors or textures it liked, and had no clue if it had any allergies. So I recommended some of our most irresistible treats, and suddenly she hits me with, "Okay, but is this good for my dog? He's a Beagle Shih Tzu mix." I tell her the treats are fine for any dog, but every dog has its own preferences. She stares at me like I just spoke another language and goes, "Do you have a treat specifically for Beagle Shih Tzu mixes?" Lady, that's not how this works. There are no Beagle Shih Tzu specific treats. But she was not happy with that answer. I'm having to be really careful with the pronunciation here. So I grabbed the exact same treat in a different flavor and said, "This one is good for Beagle Shih Tzu mixes." And she happily bought it. I get this all the time. Customers convinced that certain products only work for their dog's exact breed. Ugh. Also, dog people tend to be way more entitled and rude than cat people. Of course, we have cat owners who suck and who are rude, but it's usually a "I just want to be left alone and buy my stuff" kind of rude, which I respect. I think they get that from their cats. Obviously, a lot of dog customers are awesome and super chill, but expectations are way worse than the rude cat people. Anyways, if anyone else here works at a pet store, please share some experiences. Luckily, I have never worked at a store that did grooming or sold live animals, so I don't need to deal with those kind of crazy customers. 3. My store has these carts full of different items we sell to customers outside of the store, so that when customers walk up to the door, they can see what we have and buy them. When it's an hour before close, we bring everything inside. So I was doing that, and tried bringing in 2 carts at a time, but that was too heavy for me, so I left one and pushed the other one inside. When I walked back out to get the other one, a woman was already pushing it in for me. That was really nice of her to do, because most of the time when customers see us bring stuff inside, they just ask if we're closing, and then go inside. For some reason, though, I felt weird about it, and now I know why. Close to 30 minutes after that, the woman had brought up her items and I started scanning them. Then she does what many customers do, is see what we have near our registers and leave to go get that item. She did this many times. She then started walking up and said, God has been so good to me, girl. I had lost my keys and lost my wallet. So in my mind, I thought she was going to talk about how she lost her keys and wallet, but somehow got it back and got some money to make up for it, but then said this. So I was in jail yesterday. Excuse me? You said what? I tried my hardest to keep a straight face, not show any judgment. So then I thought, oh, maybe she meant to say police station, so that she can report her stuff missing. That was not it. She then explains how she was in jail for 4 hours and a cop questioning her about if she had something to drink, due to how she seemed like she was on something, which she was really all over the place and very active, so I can't exactly blame them for thinking that. She then says no, and they still decided to arrest her. They asked her if she had ever gotten arrested before. She said, no, but I've had family members who have went to jail before, and even prison. I can't really put that against her because you can't choose your family, if only, and what they do. So, then she said she asked what her charges were because they didn't tell her, and then she goes on to say this. Well, I don't know much about the law, so I'll just ask my family members who went to jail and prison for legal advice, since they know more about the law. Girl, what? You're going to ask criminals for legal advice? You're going to ask people who broke the law questions about the law? That's where I went from my usual customer service smile to briefly raising an eyebrow and then back to the smile again just to save myself. She then keeps on talking to me more about the arrest. She said that she just wanted to pay for her rent and get her stuff from her friend, so she asked the cops can she do that with her best friend who put a restraining order on her, Natch, without breaking it. At that point, I almost ran for my life because I hear so many times how people have problems getting restraining orders against someone. So how was this lady in front of me able to get one against her? She then asks about a discount for a glass cup with a glass straw because the straw was chipped at the bottom. So for my safety, I said, I can give her a discount. She then went to get the cup, so that gave me enough time to sift through what was said to me. Nobody was in line too, so I was alone when all of this happened. She then got the cup and more things, and then I rung those up and had the register ready for her to pay. She looks in her little bag and said she couldn't find her card. Pretty sure that's in an evidence box. She then ends our interaction with the classic, I'm gonna go to my car to get it. Be right back. Minutes pass, she did not come back, and then we closed for the night. I told my coworker what happened, and she couldn't believe it either. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced as a retail worker. 4. I have never been so offended in my life as I was today. I work for a travel shop as a shift lead and team trainer, and I deal with all kinds of customers really. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. My boss asked me to go fix the lottery machine, as she didn't have the patience for it. Oh, been there. She was having a day, and I fully understand that. I clarified with her which machine, as we have the scratch-off machine and the one behind the desk. She says the one behind the desk, and I head off to take care of it. I'm finishing up fixing the machine, and a customer comes up to the desk and says that he has a return. The cashier says to him, "Hold on just a minute." I turn to him and tell him that as soon as I finish up with that machine, I'd be right with him. I finish that up, turn to him, and ask him what I can do for you. He says he wants to return this item. Absolutely no problem. He has his receipt. He lays his rewards card on the desk. Think of it like Chekhov's rewards card. And I ask him why he was returning it. Did it not work for you? Is it broken? Did you not like it? He looks at me and said, "Obviously." So I start processing the return on the register. I ask him if he has a card ending in the last 4 digits on the card he used to pay with. He said yes, but I want it back on there and points to his rewards card. I explained to him that I can't do that. Company policy is that refunds are given the same way they are paid for. He rolls his eyes, and then he says, "What's that?" and starts to rub his chin under his chin. Now, I had just returned from lunch, so I'm thinking, great, I have something on my face. So I start wiping my chin and under it, trying to feel if there's anything there. At this point, I'm seriously confused because I don't feel anything. He says, "No, this," and proceeds to grab under his chin. I finally figured out what he was referring to. Now, mind you, I am a big woman. I don't care about this. I'm proud of me. I love myself for exactly who I am, but I'll be damned if I let some idiot insult me. Yes, he was talking about my double chin. I said, "Excuse me?" I turned to my cashier to make sure I heard him correctly. She's just shaking her head in disbelief. He then tells me that's not an insult. I looked at him and said, "Sir, that is absolutely an insult." I finish up the refund. He then tries to say something else, to which I reply with my hand in the air saying, "Have a great day," and I walk away. I was completely done with today at that point, and seeing as I love my job and can't afford to be without one, I walked away. Then I told my boss what happened. She told me that she was proud of the way I handled the situation because she wouldn't have been so nice. Never in my almost half a century on this earth have I been so offended as I was today. 5. This is a 2-for-1 because I think I have a shirt that summons people to ask me questions like I'm an employee, even though it's the furthest thing from a uniform shirt or formal shirt. For context, it's a semi-pastel, tie-dye Lilo & Stitch shirt that I've had for a few years now. It's a bit big on me, but I love having looser shirts, especially in summer months. So, this all started about a month or so ago now. I work in retail in a mall, and every so often, I'll visit one of the other stores. Mainly either the game shop, which I have a loyalty card for, or the department store that I can use my staff discount at, because it's owned by the same company as my store. I have recently been getting into Pokemon card collecting, and my main sets I'm trying to collect are Scarlet and Violet base set or Stellar Crown. So with a sale currently on for the Pokemon cards at the department store, I thought I would snag a few during one of my breaks. It's the middle of summer here when this is happening, so instead of walking around in my work shirt and being asked questions, I bring a shirt to change into and go be a customer at other places. So here I am on my break. It's a pastel tie-dye Lilo & Stitch shirt in this particular department store, headphones in, looking at a stack of the Pokemon packs there. I had a handful in my hand when an Asian guy with a kid in tow walked over to me. Listening to the Wicked soundtrack, I can barely hear this guy with my noise cancelling turned on, but he comes closer. I pull out one of my headphones. "You gotta be popular." "Where are the toilets?" "Huh? Where are the toilets?" I'm standing there dumbfounded, trying to figure out why this random guy would be asking the person holding a bunch of Pokemon cards, wearing a tie-dye Lilo & Stitch shirt, any question like that. "I don't work here," pointing towards my obvious not a uniform shirt, as these workers wear a black shirt with name tags. The guy now feels embarrassed. "Oh, sorry, I thought you worked here." I gesture at the stack of Pokemon cards I was holding. Keep in mind, this department store is in a mall, so there aren't any public toilets in the physical store. An employee was at the nearby counter and was able to help him. The employee and I both had a little confused talk about the whole interaction while I paid for my Pokemon cards. Our guess, they were probably tourists who weren't familiar with the area and thought the big store would have some toilets available. Story 2 happened quite recently. So, being in a supervisor position, I have extra tasks that I do that some of the regular employees don't. One of them is the bank run to deposit earnings. When I typically do a bank run, I don't change out of my work shirt, but I put a jacket on over my work shirt to hide it. This jacket I wear is a denim jacket with jersey sleeves, something you wouldn't find a bank employee wearing, nor would they be wearing the black polo shirt like I was wearing under the jacket. Now, this bank isn't too far from my work. I always take my phone just in case something happens on the way. I also give myself a little downtime with some music or catch a bit of my favorite streamer while I get to be away from the customers, because, man, retail can be chaotic sometimes. So I have my phone and my headphones, and watching a Twitch live stream on a low enough volume, I can still hear what is happening in the stream. So here I am, doing the deposits like I usually do at a self-service ATM, which takes deposits, which is attached to the bank. Keep in mind this self-service ATM also has the function to be able to pay bills for customers. But I don't know how that works, because I'm only here to deposit money for my work. And as I am about to start processing some of the deposit, what do I see out of the corner of my eye? A much older gentleman, holding a stack of money, coming directly toward me. Is this where you pay your bills? Still in that denim jacket and trying to not get distracted while doing the deposit. I'm sorry. Do you know how you can pay your bills? I'm actually doing something else, I say confusedly. Can you help me? You can ask an employee in the bank for help. I'm just a customer, sorry. Poor guy probably had to wait a while because it was just before lunch and it was busy in the bank. But I mean, I came back to work with a funny story and found out we had something interesting happen while I was at work. How does the shirt come into this? The shirt I had to change into for my break that day was the same Lilo and Stitch shirt. Obviously, because I work in retail, I do try to be kind with my interactions, but some of them are crazy, and I understand why there's an entire subreddit dedicated to the subject. People, a denim jacket with a tie-dye Lilo and Stitch shirt aren't workers' uniforms. I wish they were, but they aren't. I'm not saying I need to conduct an experiment with that shirt or some of my other shirts, but I mean, I've never had anyone come up to me to ask questions when I'm wearing my other graphic tees. But for some reason, this particular Lilo and Stitch one makes people ask me questions, whether I'm wearing it at that time or have it as my change of shirt. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 226. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. That lets YouTube know that you like the video, so it should tell other people how good it is. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by joining us on my Patreon page. That is linked for you in the description. You'll also find a link there to the Hellfreezer merchandise store if you'd like to get yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that. If you want to leave more of a one-off tip, you can do that by clicking on the heart with a $sign underneath the video. Okay, that's me done pimping myself out for the day, so let's move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, do you have a favorite mug? And if you do you find yourself a little bit lost when it's broken? Currently my favorite mug is my True Blood mug. I do have others, and before that it was a different one which I don't use anymore. And if that gets broken, I would probably try to replace it with an identical one, or I would begin a several weeks long hunt trying to find the perfect special go-to mug. Although, of course, I do have others, and I would use those in the meantime, but it still wouldn't feel right because it's not my special mug. Let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, let's take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. And today's answer comes from Fast Food and Retail 225, and was about sound treating a room. I think I may have accidentally stumped you all with this one. It could have been a bit too specific to my own interests. But let's see. Today's answer comes from Tate Upholstery. I'm not a music studio or do much for soundproofing, but I can tell you, I personally chuckle inside my noggin every time I see those little 12x12 foamies stuck on the wall. You know, the ones with the ripply waves in it. They're on the back wall or whatever in vids. Sure, it could help, but a piece of a wall, or a piece here and there, that's not gonna do bub. I bet those who buy those things are paying way too much. As an upholsterer, who can get quality foams and materials, I think I should just shut up and go build a soundproof room in. Thank you very much for your answer, Tate Upholstery. Hashtag not spawn. Okay. I think that's everything for today, so I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.